system that all my endpoints talk to. And so right now I have in my environment for this system, I have 20, I think, endpoints out here. And they kind of look like this, right?
Okay.
So these PCs, iPads, iPhones, Android tablets, I think that's and one server in here are all um, spread out around South Carolina and North Carolina. And hey, can you hear me, Chris?
Yes.
Hey, man, welcome.
Sorry about that. My HP didn't want to work with me today.
Hey, you know what though? It was Patch Tuesday, this past Tuesday. So we'll go over that today.
Okay.
Chris, let me introduce you to Gabe. Gabe reached out, um, wants to get some training too.
Okay.
So he's also a student doing an internship. So we're pretty much just gonna all pick up the same training here in the EDR system, and
Yes,
we
sir.
just gonna all learn together, man. So Gabe, Chris, Gabe.
All right. Nice to meet you, Chris.
Nice to meet you too.
Thank you.
I was just going over the basics of what an EDR that endpoint is and how it sits on that PC,
Yes,
and
sir.
then how it talks back to the manager here. And so I was showing Gabe how we got all these endpoints that they may be online, they may not. So um, right here, you pretty much know if they're online if they're highlighted that you can actually go into. Now, yes, the agent may be talking, and that's what the AG stands for. The agent may be talking back to the manager, but that doesn't necessarily mean that that person's actively working on that device and talking to the Wi-Fi signal. Um, so, but a good example will be this one, which is my computer that I'm talking to now, and my PC that I have booted up right beside me. Now you'll see these other modules here that we can actually install. These are different functions of this EDR system. Um, so you can, like, for this is my mom's PC, my sister's PC. Yeah, this is my sister PC, and what I did is I put an EDR system on it. And so what you can do is instead of going down, she lives in Charleston. So instead of going down to Charleston and actually double clicking the application and then installing it manually, I can do that here from Rock Hill. So to do another example, let's do my PC, right? Actually, and let's unclick. No, I'll keep it the same just to kind of show you guys something. Uh, I want to install the EDR system on both of these machines, and I'll tell you why the EDR in just a second, and not the CCS and the MDR. Um, so let's install those two modules. So we want to highlight them over here, make sure that these are the ones that I want to install, and then I want to install manage packages, and that from here I want to go to additional Exabeam packages and just simply click that EDR system. Now, here's a work nugget, right? When you get your job and you're working in a system like this, it's very important to understand about reboots. We want to make sure that we give our clients, our users, an opportunity to reboot themselves or either suppress the reboot altogether. But in certain instances, we have to reboot that system in order for the the installation to complete. Okay, so I'm gonna say that again. The We can push the software to that machine, but in order for it to be complete and actually run correctly, it may need a reboot. More than likely, it's going to need a reboot. But we have it. A lot of this software is set up to where you don't need to reboot immediately. You can actually hold it off for days at a time, but you don't get all the functions. So in this case of EDR, um, you can probably do a virus scan, but you won't be able to look at the processes of what's going on that PC. And I'll show you processes in just a second.
So sometimes they'll want you like force reboot just because like you need a security that you can basically just handle and stuff, right? Or like it's just like basically what I'm trying to say is sometimes a company wants you to like basically just put the security, all the software onto everybody's computer just for for maximum security, or just like basically just like put an update out there just to be out there.
So it depends. In your scenario, it depends. But in this scenario of a EDR, we want to push this stuff out here. So if me and you were working at let's say we're all working, you're working for me, Mitchell Technologies, and we're doing a consulting for Publix, the supermarket, right?
Yeah.
And Publix has 20 PCs in their building. Now I sit down with you and Chris and I say, hey man, we need to push this endpoints out in order to understand our environment from the house, because we're not going to go out there and check each day about this machine, each machine. We need to look at it from a high standpoint, from a high view. We're going to push our endpoint out that we got here. We're going to push our endpoint out. Okay. Well, we may be pushing to a CEO or some type of manager, security guard, all of these people who may need to do their job from 8 to 5 kind of nonstop. They don't have time to reboot. Or you'll learn that a lot of users, they just don't want to reboot. It's kind of a nuisance, right?
Right.
And you have to work around it. So what I'm saying to you is that in this scenario, we have to get it out. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around it. We're going to push it out. And we let the people know that. We'll send a mass email out saying, hey, the security team, we're going to push this new agent out. Do not be alarmed. We're going to give you an opportunity to suppress the reboot, but you eventually will need to reboot. And normally users, they get it. Now, another nugget is if you can wait to after hours, then do that. But if you got to do it during the 8 to 5, then we're going to probably put that email out maybe a week before time and just let them know that, hey, we're going to push something out and there's no getting around it.
Okay.
All right. So that's with not just with this. As you grow in your IT field, your profession, you will understand that you won't just be rebooting somebody's PC maybe once in your career. Man, you're gonna be rebooting these stuff maybe twice a week. Like I just told Chris, it was Patch Tuesdays this past week. And Patch Tuesdays mean that Windows came out with a load of patches that needed to be updated on their computers. And it happens every second Tuesday of the month. These patches normally need a reboot to happen in order to finish installing them. But you as a professional, you may be in charge of those things, and you're going to have to either wait to after hours, which I would probably suggest, or you'll just go ahead and push them out and just be that bad guy and get the nasty emails after that. So ask me if I know about that, and I'd say, yeah, man, I had to learn some kind of way. So when doing that, when pushing this package out, it gives you the option to say, hey, we can either force a reboot. Force mean, you have no choice. Hey, I'm rebooting this thing in 30 minutes and it's going to do it. That's how powerful the endpoint is, to where it can actually, it doesn't care what you're doing in the middle of your, let's say, Zoom session in class, it's going to just reboot the machine. Okay. So that's why it's just like, once you send that flag out or that command out, canceling it is, no, you already jumped off the ledge, man. There's no coming back from that. All right. So before we actually send that out, if we need to do it during business hours, we always going to make sure that we can give them an opportunity to suppress the reboot, or we can warn them about the reboot. All in case of how we actually did it. Did we warn them about it a week ahead, and then we can custom write our little message here, and say, hey, go ahead and save all your work. Your machine will reboot in 30 minutes. All right.
Okay. Yeah, got it.
Now, in our case, since this is my machine, and hold on, what other machine was this? This is no, I don't want to do this. So this is my father-in-law's machine. So I don't want to I don't want to reboot his machine because I don't want to hear that. But I will I will reboot my machine that's here beside me. So um I'm gonna try to show y'all that real quick. I wonder if I can. All right, let's go along with it. Okay, so we want to put the EDR system on there. Install management packages, Exabeam packages. We're gonna install that EDR client. Um, Here's a little nugget here. Sometimes if you hover over these question marks, they'll give you another requirement that you need, and that it says that it's need to be 7 or higher. I'm gonna say 10 minutes, so that'll give me enough time to try to get the remote piece install. Matter of fact, let's do 15. All right, and then it'll say device will reboot in 15 minutes by your administrator. No, I want to put something special. I'm gonna say haha. All right, and just as simple as that, reboot. Now the package has been sent to that endpoint that's on my PC. Right now, how I call that back, I don't think you can. Not on this one. I've rarely ever seen systems where you can stop the command once it's already sent. So let's try to get to my PC.
So what if you like device is off, like completely off? Will it like reboot
Now,
when you turn it on, or
if it's grayed out like this, it once that computer kicks back online and that endpoint talks back to the manager, it receives the command that was sitting in the queue. And then it says,
okay.
"Oh, I need to install this EDR system." So even if you just boot it up for that morning, it doesn't care. It's about to go ahead and reboot on you. Good question though. Where is that joker? Because I already seen. All right, so this is the remote piece for it. I'm gonna download it and I'm gonna try to install it before my PC reboots on me. Download. All right, while it's doing that, let's go over to the endpoint. This is the actual endpoint of how we actually we get that endpoint that I showed you in the toolbar.
Yeah.
We can install that endpoint for this EDR system on any of these platforms. And each one of them are a little bit different. But the one thing I like about this is that we can do this from anywhere in the world. So if we had a client that's over there in Denver, Colorado, we could just send them an email with this link in it. They can download it on their cell by themselves, which is easy to do. You can send them instructions on how to walk through it, and they can actually just go ahead and put that endpoint on their system. Once they do that, then now we can see it here in the manager and be able to talk to it and tell it what we want to do. So my exe has finished. Come on, man. Come on, come on. All right. I'm gonna accept the terms and conditions. I'm gonna install. Y'all might not have seen that, but it asked me that I was sure. All right. So, like I said, don't get confused with the Komodo and Exidium. What happened is that Exidium bought out Komodo, and they did not change over all the naming. But all this stuff is free to use. And I think it's actually a lot of value that they're just kind of giving away. They called me last week and asked me if I wanted to buy the full version of it, but not for what I'm using it for. I don't think I need that. So
Right.
let's launch. All right, I'm gonna allow. It's asking me if I wanted to allow this application to make any changes to the network or have access to the network, and I do, because this is going to be a remote tool, so it's going to need to have that port open up. Don't know if you know anything about ports, but ports are the way that is a way that computers talk to each other, and they tell each other what they want to actually do, or want from each other. So in this case, we want remote access. And Chris, I'm gonna call on you because I know you know what port RDP is, right?
Yes. I think. Give me a second. 3389.
Yep. So 389 needs to be open up for this application in order for it to talk to my computer that's off to the right of me. And it's like it's 65 different ports, 65,000 different ports on a computer. Man, all right.
So you're saying
It just
389,
the 3389.
3389. Okay.
3,389. That not it's not opening up that many ports. The ports are numbered
That's the
from
port
one,
number.
yeah, from 1 to 65,800 something other,
And what does
right?
that do again?
That's the way they talk to each other and let each other know what they want done, and what they want from each other. So TCP, not TCP, that's a bad one. FTP is a file transport protocol, and that port allows you to share a PDF from my machine to your machine, or share a Word document from my machine to your machine. Okay, because that's his only job during that port is just to um, share that document. Okay, so that port is very different than 3389, which is remote protocol, and the remote protocol allows someone to physically connect to one's computer from another computer, and that's all it does. It doesn't do anything else. So it can't. Um, it may work in the conjunction. So let's say, um, while you're seeing my screen, that's a form of, let's say that's a form of remote desktop protocol. But I can also send you a document in the chat, right?
Yeah.
Well, that chat is using a different port than you actually viewing my screen. That chat is using FTP. It's your computer is doing like a ton of things, not just showing you a application. It could be doing multiple of things, all at the same time. Really not at the same time, but in human eyes, all at the same time. Man, I don't know my doggone thing. Hold on.
Is that the same password that you created for Exium?
I hope so. Because it just gave me the just there it is. All right, now I need two-factor. Gabe, you know about two-factor?
Yeah, basically maybe like an extended version of security, or just in case someone trying to like hack you or maybe like account or anything, you have to put in two-factor, or just
Yep.
verification against you.
All right, that is correct. Now, so now you can see I'm into this remote piece. Now, this remote application is using port 3389. Yeah, 3389. And so what I could do here is I can look over here. Now, look, I can either send a file transfer. You remember I said FTP, file transfer protocol. I can use a file transfer session, and I'll show you that in just a second. But here we can go and just take over the whole machine. This is powerful right here, because if you were working in a help desk within the building, a lot of times you'll just get up and go to that person and just type on their machine. But from here, man, we could do anything that we really want from the house and never really put or touch that machine or look at that machine. This is my laptop right here. And as you can see, and it might be too small. Just show monitor 2. I sent the email, or I sent the suppression.
Yeah.
Not the suppression. I sent the packages out, and it's saying that I'm about to be signed out in 10 minutes. Now it's supposed to show my little reboot message, but as you can see, I was able to click on that. A lot of your remote session applications won't let you actually see certain things for security reasons, and maybe this application is a little bit more intrusive than I would like. But I think that it's necessary, because a lot of times your clients, they would just want you to just take over and do everything without any type of restrictions. But just to kind of just show you guys that this is a different client, I already got that pulled up, and I'm able to do whatever I need to do here on this machine as well. All right. But as we'll wait this 10 minutes out, and I'll go ahead and go back to this application. We're gonna let that EDR go ahead and install on my other machine, and then we'll take a look at the main screen once again. But you get this from the tools section over here, and they have some different tools that's cool. They're a little bit what I want to say, kind of gimmicky, but I think they're good too. At the same time, when it comes to cybersecurity, threat hunting, it could be something that you actually do. But it's in the environments that I've been in, you don't really get enough time to threat hunt. To clear up what threat hunting is that you're looking through logs, and you're looking for those superior hackers that's kind of been living in your environment, and we haven't detected them yet. Okay. Fun fact, more like not, it's not a fact, but I think it's a fact. You probably already have people dormant in the environment that's looking at information that they shouldn't have or shouldn't have access to. It's just, do we have enough time to detect them? And just because you have an EDR system on there, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to automatically scan and find that information leaking out somewhere. Okay, it takes time to look through all the logs and find out, wait a minute, that's not supposed to be going to this address. All right, to kind of go a little bit further into that, right? Let's say task manager. Let me pull my task manager over here. Remember when I said that there was a ton of things that's going on your computer? This is what I mean by that. I don't have many things open. And all of these things are talking now. Even like Teams. I haven't used Teams on this computer in about 6 months. It constantly talks to something. Well, I know it talks back to the Microsoft servers, but I'm not using it. But that's what I mean by there's a ton of things going on at the same time. Um, and so it's easy for someone or a company to say, hey, come on and do my security for me. And, it's somebody could be just living in your environment and you really have no idea where.
Right.
But don't take that as being a discouragement to getting into the field, because if you do the right things, if you go by the standards that are put out there in these certifications and regulations, you will normally, with the help of others, of course, you will find out if leakages have already happened and then what to do to remediate them. Any questions?
Sir.
No.
All right. So let's do that. Okay. Going back to the endpoint here. Let's go to
Can you send
let's
me
just
that link? Because I have the virtual machine up and running.
send you the link to the endpoint.
Yes, sir.
What is it, a Windows server?
This is, I think it is, no, it's not a server. It's a Windows machine that I had already one set up on my HP. I gotta remember which
Mhm.
machine it is. But I don't think it's a server though. Let's go to settings.
Okay. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and copy it. As long as it's Windows, it's cool. I'm gonna throw this in the chat. So, Gabe, you can put this on your machine or a machine that you want, and my machine just restarted. Um, but you could put this on your machine if you want to, so you can see it in the platform. And what I'll do is I'll give you access to the platform too, so you can go ahead and just poke around and see what you see
All right.
and ask any questions on it. So I'm gonna just throw this in the chat here.
So I can put it on the computer I'm using right now.
Is that a machine that you don't mind being on this platform?
No, it's fine. Or I could just put this on my laptop.
Well, what I mean is that you see how it's saying restart session. What I'm saying is that I wouldn't suggest you putting it on a school laptop or Target laptop or anything like that.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah, because if you do it on a work laptop, they're gonna see it and they're gonna say, "Hey, what you doing?" Because that's at the same time, these tools is they're nice to have and they're nice to work on, but let's just say you couldn't trust me. Like, let's just say I'm a big fraud and I'm a hacker the whole time.
Right.
I got something real powerful right here that I just gave you. The endpoint so you could just join my botnet too. So yeah, but you could take me as face value. You can trust me, right?
Yeah,
um,
yeah, I could put it on my laptop. It's a personal laptop and see, basically I'll just turn it on, like basically just, play around with it and see, what I can
well,
find.
tell me this: Do you know how to make a VM, a virtual machine?
Virtual. See, we touched about it like last semester. Not really,
Mhm.
but we did touch about it a little bit. But I know a little bit, but I just don't know how to basically set it up and everything.
All right. Um, I'm gonna send you. I want you to. I'll send you a paper on how to set up a virtual machine
Okay.
and throw that, instead of throwing this on your personal machine, throw that endpoint on that virtual machine. It's gonna run on your laptop, but just in a secret uh kind of environment. Like
Okay.
That way I'm not able to see the personal stuff because it can look deep. So let's look at our next let's go ahead and jump to this tab right here. So y'all see this tab?
Yeah. Enterprise
All right.
platform.
So this is the alerts that I've been seeing coming in. Get like a ton of these alerts, right? And maybe on your first day you might get a little alarm like, hey, what's going on? This EDR system keeps alerting on this process here, and I really don't know what's going on. Well, several things that you can do here. You can either report this as a false positive, or we can add to a suppression rule. Suppression means, we're gonna just kind of quiet down on the alerts. Like, hey, I don't it because every time this runs, it could be alerting maybe 15,000 times a day. Literally, that's not joking. So it can overwhelm you. And what that does is that when you see those alerts come in all the time, we human. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna obviously say, you know what, that ain't nothing, whatever. I'm not gonna attend to it. Is whatever, and you push it over to the side, and that could be what a hacker wants to happen, and then now he can actually slide something in there that's actually detrimental. So if it's legitimate, you can actually suppress that rule. Now, false positive, if you just know for sure that this rule is nothing malicious, it's something that we just don't want to be reported on again. Let's say if it's a in-house application, something that we created, but yet our Windows machine or Exabeam doesn't know about it yet, we can go ahead and put in a false positive, and it won't alert on us at all. Okay, and you will have sometimes where this is calls for. Okay, but in this case, when I was looking at it, we could see that the blessed woman 419 is here. So this is my sister's machine. So I was like, okay, so what's going on? And the main thing that I want to look for is I look for the directory on where things are happening at. And directory, what I mean by that is that C drive,
Yeah.
Windows temp, things like that. And if it's going on in a program files folder, or if it's a executable going off and it's a application that I'm familiar with that shouldn't be on that machine, then I'll give my sister a call and say, hey, you know what? This doesn't look right. Did you install something crazy? But this goes into that threat hunting piece that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
I looked at the process path over here, and it goes into the system 32. And so a lot of program files, well, not program files, I'm sorry, things that run on a Windows machine, um, that causes the system to actually function properly, or something that we add on in order for it to have a resource to it, printers, cameras, microphones, they run in this type of folder. So I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, it's in the System 32 folder, and we're talking about a HP custom cap. So when you're writing different files and you can save them, you notice how we can't really put spaces, or we can't put commas to kind of separate those things. So you get used to kind of looking at jumbled up words and saying, oh, okay, more than likely this has something to do with a driver for a HP product. Now, I know my sister's environment. She has a HP printer. And so more than likely this is a application that works along with the printer. I don't know if you guys have installed HP printers, but they don't just work. Sometimes they do work without the application, but a lot of times they work with this mess right here, HP Smart, and they want you to install that in order to work with the actual printer. And so Exabeam will look at that and was like, well, I don't know what that is. Um, you know what? Just to be on the safe side, I'm gonna throw a error, not an error, but I'm gonna flag it. Okay. Now it doesn't stop her from working or anything like that, but it does alert us as security professionals to be okay. What should we do? Should we suppress this? Which I would say let's suppress it. But I wouldn't be totally out of the realm to say let's say it's a false positive. But what we will want to do in the real world is probably check with the client and say, hey, did you install something for your HP machine? That's the proper thing to do because say if she didn't, now we got like, okay, it may be a legitimate system file, but we don't know who installed it. You didn't install it. Why did that person install it? And why is it flagging? So, you know, in that case, what we'll do is we'll actually come in here, um, we'll go back to that machine. So isolation means that we're going to stop all communications to the machine. And let's clarify that she could still go to the internet, or well, no, let me take that back. She may not have internet access, so she couldn't go to Google or whatnot, but she probably could still save her Word documents or any type of documents that she may be working on. Okay, and we can let me see if I can. No, not the power options. More. I know I just seen that thing. I'm sorry for the silence. But we could throw it in isolation. I don't know where is that. God, no, what. Isolation and be able to have her finish her talk, her lessons or her work. But we don't have to worry about any type of virus or worm spreading out to the printer, to other machines, um, and getting loose on the network. Okay, so that's what isolation means. And I'm sorry, I don't know where it's at to show you that. Um, but I know I'll find it once I'm not looking for it. Now, isolation is different than network segmentation. That's where we're creating a whole different network for them to actually throw them in a kind of like their own VLAN. But we can pretty much do similar things without actually creating something on the network to throw them in. And once we isolate them, then we can go ahead and do some more digging, threat hunting to try to figure out what's the problem. And then if we find out that it's a false positive or a false alarm, we can go ahead and unisolate them, put them back on the network, and everything is fine. If we find that we just don't trust that machine anymore, what you're going to do in the real world is just wipe that machine altogether and just re-image it and put a new platform or roll it back, not roll it back, Jesus. But you're basically going to bring it back to the out of box status, so all the files will be wiped, all the applications will be wiped off as well.
On that particular like machine, right?
Yeah, on just that particular machine. If you see that it had made any contact to someone, or if you see, let's say, if you've seen that same process on another machine, and because sometimes you can run a report to show, okay, who has this file, who has this exe on them, and then now, let's say if it's 3 more machines, we could just say, you know what, it's almost 5 o'clock. I'm ready to get out of here. Hey, just tell help desk to go ahead and re-image those machines. Now, for our clients, is they may not like it, but if we were smart as a IT department, we probably set them up with cloud access. So we probably have all of their things backed up, and then we could just easily give them a new laptop, new desktop, download all the information from there, and so they
Uh,
can continue to work the next day like
so, so
nothing happened.
basically, so basically, like factory, like kind of like reset the client's device and basically just basically back up before that and then download whatever they had before the threat and everything, right?
Yeah. So those backups should happen nightly, right? Before any type of, because once we figure out that they have a virus or they have some type of thing where we need to wipe that computer or the phone, um, we don't want to wipe it and uh, give them the virus right back, right? We want to wipe them. Let's say if they caught it today on a Sunday, we're gonna give them everything up to Saturday. But everything on Sunday that you did, we're gonna probably lose that. Okay. But we're
So
gonna pretty much say, hey, we think you were good until this particular time. So this is everything we'll give you back. But we want to make sure that once we give you your new machine, that you definitely don't have this HP application on it because we don't know where it came from.
okay, so you can pick and choose what you want to back up because like what if let's say you back up before wiping out the machine? What if like the threat is still in the backup?
If the thread is in the backup, then we got a bigger problem. The worms is pretty much everywhere now. But if it's in the backups, then we need it can't be, hopefully it cannot be, months out, or we need to really kind of roll back to where we don't see that anymore. But I guarantee if that was the case, if you come to me and say, hey man, this thing backs up all the way till the summertime in July, I'm gonna say, well, okay, give her everything that's up to date till July, or give her everything that's up to date in June, right? But then we will have to, as a team, we'll probably have to stay late, man, because this went undetected for 6 months, and we probably don't know what's all at. If that's the case, if we've been missing it for 6 months, we probably really don't know where that thing is at.
Right.
And so
Okay.
now you got a bigger problem, and getting rid of that, we probably bring in some reinforcements on that. Um, Calling out to, because excuse me, you have cybersecurity teams that you can outsource to help you find these type of issues in your network. But
Okay.
hopefully, this is why you put that EDR on a machine, so they don't it doesn't get out of hand like that. That's why it's so important to say, hey, we took over Publix. We're going to push this out. I don't care if you don't like the reboot or not, because if something gets into this system and we don't know about it, and now it's 6 months old, that's 6 months worth of information that we don't know who got or how long think about all the reports that came out in 6 months.
Right.
Man, you about to lose your job. You about to go home. 6
So
months.
that's why it's
Somebody got.
important to check it, like check the arrows every day, right?
Yeah. So every day, what I do when I come to work. So this is similar to what I do. This platform. So it's different for every vendor that's out there, but it's pretty much the same thing. Every day I'm coming here, and what I'm gonna do first is look to see who's online,
Mm-hmm.
and I probably got a ticket open for Tammy, because I have her agent on her machine, but her agent is not talking to the server. So I probably need to reach out to Tammy and get her on, because if I see all green here, I know all my agents are out there talking. But then now it comes down to the workstations, because the workstations, there are the ones that get the more options. Um, the ones that have only one option are iOS devices, and I think that's because Exabeam doesn't make enough. They don't have enough information to have it integrated with them properly. They do at least have it on the Android machine to where you can run a antivirus scan, but not iOS. But your workstations get the most options that you can have. And what I'm doing is I'm probably looking at the patch status next, see who I need to push patches out to. What do you know about patches?
Um, basically, like how video games and everything, like you drop patches to fix any maybe error or any like glitches, or basically to make the game better or to make the machine better, run smoothly, and yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that's what I'm probably looking at next. Like, okay, how do I push these? When can I push these patches out? And I think that's a good segue. Let's go ahead over here. So I already had that out. Wanted to talk about it. So, like I said, Patch Tuesday was pretty much every second Tuesday of each month. And what I like about this EDR machine is that, or system, is that they track those things. And so in a real world, your clients are probably not going to update their machines on a regular basis. So it's our job to go ahead and push those patches out. What I told Chris is that in vulnerability management, which is a totally different title than your normal cybersecurity analyst, a vulnerability management analyst, that's the only thing they work with. They look to see who needs patches, and then they work on pushing those things out. Okay. Uh, Now, for this platform, they show all Windows patches on this tab. Well, mainly because that's what we got in our environment, but it's here on this tab, right? And you can see the critical ones and the security security updates, which are two different ones. Um, just for your own knowledge, you can always take this KB number, copy it, and then throw this into like a Google search, and you can see what Microsoft said about that particular update. So this is what this update actually fixes, what's the problem, and then how they fix it. So this is, anybody asks, why do we need such and such update? You can always just take that KB number, throw it in there, and see when did it come out on the 11th, and then what does it fix? Which is they 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 seem like they have net framework updates every month, but that's what comes with it when you're writing millions and millions of lines of code on a daily basis. They also give you the CVE number, critical vulnerability exposure, I think. Don't quote me on that. But basically, a CVE number is how critical can it be to a system? All right. The higher the number, which is 1 to 10, 10 being the worst, it's probably going to be labeled critical. I think what they had for this one was important. It's a security update. It's important, but not necessarily, critical. Let's look at a critical real quick. Secure update for boot DBX. So basically, a secure boot flaw that goes into the what's the word for it? Jesus. Oh, what's the word for it? I forget. Oh, I forget. But anyway, um, you can boot into the safe mode, or this is before your actual OS actually shows you like the Windows symbol or the Apple symbol. You get kind of like that screen that looks like it came from the 1970s and
Yeah.
1980s piece of it. Um, those type of once you get into that sector of the computer, you don't really have any type of security like the OS does. And so it could be critical if someone gets a hold of that, because now we could turn on different aspects of the computer that we just normally don't want. Firmware is the word I was looking for. So booting into the firmware is critical to actually update and push out. So since that's so critical, additional information, CVE got it as a I don't see a score on it, but it's probably a 10 since it's critical. At least has to be a 8 or higher for a critical. So who needed that? It's installed on one. That's probably my machine. Oh, so you can actually click on that and then actually throw you there. That's cool too. Who needed? But anyway, before I get sidetracked, we can actually say, hey, coming in for the day. Let's say we're coming in for the new week for Monday. We can say, man, we gotta make sure that we push out all the criticals to the machines that need them. All right. And so we can click on the vulnerability here or the patch and see exactly who needs it. Now, in this case, that PC that's offline needs that patch. I'm gonna go ahead and I want that to be pushed to them. And so whenever they actually do log into that machine and get it back online, it'll automatically at least update that machine with that patch. So let's go and let's see if we can do that live. I am over the hour. Do you guys need to drop?
Yeah, I got to get ready to go up to the hospital. Just a brief note. Okay, so I got the email that you sent me. I copied and pasted it into Firefox browser on the VM. The only problem is, since I hadn't been on this VM in months, I don't remember what I set the administrative password. So I have to delete this, set it up again, write down the administrative passwords so I remember it, and then go ahead and add the endpoint up there. But I know you can do it. I just don't remember what the admin password I set because I hadn't used that.
Okay. Well, yeah, once you get that, the link will stay live from here on out, so you can use that as many times as you want, and you don't have to worry about it expiring. So, yeah, whenever you figure out that password or reset it, it should be ready to go.
And this is it's going to be a Windows 10. I am going to set up that 2016 server. It just my mom got to leave the hospital, and I'm going up there to replace it to go be with my aunt. So I got to give it a head on that.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and I'll shut it down for now, and then we'll pick right up on it next Sunday. Gabe, you got anything, man, before we go ahead and break down?
This is my first time, so it's a little fuzzy, but I feel like I'll get it little by little. And also, you also said about virtual machine.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you something to your email to where it'll show you how to set up VirtualBox on your machine, and then I'll send you the iOS. Yeah, I'll try to find one for you so we can transfer it over, because it's going to be a large file that you need on your PC in order to install like another Windows 10 machine.
Okay.
But we'll work through it. Just you know, once you installing it and you run into any issues, just give me a text and we can walk through it.
All right, got it.
All right.
And Mr. Mitchell, before we, cause I would like to get this